On Saturday the 3rd and Sunday the 4th of May 2025, the Workington Transport Heritage Trust held Leyland National 53, which celebrates the Leyland National and other buses too. We travelled to Whitehaven with our friends in the Barrow Transport Group. This year we had Leyland Titan PD2 169 and Volvo B10 Cabriolet 928. Chris Stainton had also very kindly lent us the use of his Plaxton Supreme-bodied Henley's Leyland Tiger. The coach was new in 1982 and operated with Henley's until 2014, when it was purchased by KT's Coaches in Kendal. Currently compliant, it is retained for use as a spare vehicle for school work and private hire. We start by taking a look at the vehicles, but had taken a spot on the quayside. This is a Cumberland Bristol low-decker. It was new in April 1961 and numbered C416. It is currently owned by the 550 Group. This is Cumberland 431, an Eastern Coachworks bodied Bristol VR. It was new to service in 1980. This is Cumberland 378, a Leyland National 2 that was also newly introduced to the operator in 1980. The National 2s differed from the Mark 1s with their bulbous front nose and choice of engines. Here we have the last two surviving Jersey Motor Transport Albion Victors. FAS 982 was one of four new in 1958 and was among the last to be built by Albion. The bus spent 24 years in service on the island, and after a few years lying in a field, it was brought back to the mainland, where it lay in a barn in Lincoln for over 20 years, until it was purchased and restored. The bus is currently owned by Spencer Graham Coaches in Silloth. 804 FUF is slightly older, and was new to JMT in 1954. It entered preservation in 1974, and has since gone through a succession of owners. In 2014, the bus was sold to Paul Oliver in Copthorne, mid-Sussex, where the bus has seen conversion to become a drinks bar. At the time of writing, the bus is currently stabled at Liverpool. This brings us nicely to the Merseyside Transport Trust, who came to the event with their duple dominant bodied Leyland Tiger. This Eastern National Bristol FLF low-decker was new in 1962 and restored by Reliance Busworks for its owner in 2024. This is a County Leyland National 2, number 245. It was new to Yorkshire Traction in 1981 and spent most of its working life in Huddersfield. The Wigan Bus Preservation Group had three vehicles at this year's event, starting with Dafty, a right renowned Volvo B10 BLE, which was new to Arriva Northumbria in 1999 and wore the fleet number 4515. It was purchased for preservation in 2024. The second vehicle was ex-Stagecoach Manchester 20974, another preserved relative of our own 928. This Volvo B10M, which has recently been restored in Magic Bus livery, has a quirky 3+2 seating layout. Surprisingly, their third vehicle was this former Stagecoach MAN Enviro 300. The bus was new to Fife Depot in 2009 as part of a batch of 18. In 2016 it was transferred to Morecambe Depot. It then moved to Carlisle in 2019 and was retrofitted with the Euro 6 Cummins engine to reduce emissions and improve reliability. Stagecoach withdrew the vehicle in March this year, and it was sold to the Wigan Group via City Transport North East in the same month. The bus had been stabled in Cumbria before the group would take it to its new home following the event. Workington's passenger-carrying Volvo B10Ms were also on display at the quayside. 710 was being used by the North West Ambulance Service as a free blood pressure monitoring station as part of a prevention against strokes. Also newly preserved this year is this Ralph Bullock Leyland Tiger. It was new to the company in March 1986 with a Plaxton Paramount Mark II body. However, When it was just 6 years old, a severe fire broke out on the vehicle in Cambridge. The bus wasn't a complete write-off, however, and it ended up receiving a 1984 Paramount Mark I body from a Harold Wood Coaches accident-damaged vehicle. It later became BUI 1484 and received a Paramount Mark III front. It was withdrawn in 2014 and parked at the Bullocks Demings Road depot until it was sold to Andy Rigby for preservation in 2025. The oldest visitor in attendance was this Cumberland Leyland Titan TD4. The bus was introduced in 1936, however at some point in its life the original Massey body was replaced with a 1950s Lowbridge configured ECW body. It used to work in nearby Workington and has also seen operation with Trent Barton in Derbyshire. The bus is currently preserved by Stephen Morris of Quantock Motor Services, and over this year's Easter period it had made the arduous journey from its current home at Taunton in Somerset to take part in the Kirby Stephen Easter Rally. The bus was then taken to a local stagecoach depot where it was stabled over the near fortnight before the WTHT brought it over to Whitehaven for Leyland National 53. From the Northern National Restoration Group, we have their preserved 2004 Go North East Scania Wright Solar. The bus was named after Go Ahead's co-founder Christopher Moyles. Completing the quayside lineup is this former First Group Wright Eclipse Volvo B7 RLE. It is currently preserved by fellow transportation YouTuber Joe Dobson. Parked at the hub where all of the vintage services were operating from was Workington's Volvo B10 Expo bus. It was there to sell event programs and display duty boards to show passengers the vehicle allocations. We started with a ride around the town aboard the Glasgow Vintage Vehicle Trust Volvo Ailsa, which makes an incredible engine noise.
The first year that based at the town
Also with an incredible engine noise is Barrow Corporation Leyland National number 20. We took it on a round trip to Cockermouth, a new route for this year's event. Just before home time, a quick blast aboard Workington's ALX 300 MAN on the Lakes College Park and Ride. On Sunday, or Star Wars Day as it was May the 4th, the weather remained pretty much the same as it was on Saturday, with sunshine and blue skies. Some different vehicles were parked up on the quay in the morning, such as this Midland Bluebird Scania Renown. Courtesy of Stagecoach Cumbria is a Scania Enviro 400, registered in memory of long-standing and respected driver Phil Dunn. The bus was previously registered YN65 XFC and introduced to service in 2015, primarily for operation on Stagecoach Gold branded services. The Gold brand has since been discontinued. This is a 1964 Cumberland Bristol MW. It spent most of its working life in Keswick, operating the 78 Seatoller. The bus was acquired for preservation by the Cumbria Omnibus Group in 1996 and was fully restored from a derelict condition in 2004. This is the Isle of Man's computer bus, which was new as a PSV to Isle of Man Transport in 1977. In 1998, the bus was converted by Manx Telecom and kitted out with computers, and the bus would be taken to various schools around the island. The bus completed its educational duties by 2020 and is currently preserved by the Isle of Man Transport Museum in Derby. Finally, we have this 1969 built Alexander Y-type AEC Reliance and this 1982 built Chesterfield Plaxton Supreme bodied Leyland Tiger. Our first trip for Sunday was aboard this nicely restored and very nippy Marshall-bodied Bristol LH to the coast at St Bees. It was new to service with Southern Vectis on the Isle of Wight in 1969. It was purchased for preservation by the Aycliffe District Bus Preservation Society because of its association with the Newtonian service between 1981 and 1984. Next, a ride to Cockermouth aboard the WTHT's Paxton Paragon Volvo B10. We returned aboard Andy Rigby's Leyland Tiger, and mostly in convoy with the Henley's Tiger. For our final ride at this year's event, we managed to board Cumberland 291 and sit behind the driver for the town tour. Like last year, the event finished earlier at around 15:30 for a road run to the former Leyland Factory on the Lily Hall Industrial Estate. The photoshoot was made very special this year, as Cumberland National 378 was named in honour of Kenneth Hargreaves. He started work as an apprentice at Leyland Motors in 1955 and would later become instrumental in the development and testing of the prototype Leyland National. Rising through the ranks, he became a superintendent in 1970 and played a hands-on role in training assembly workers on the National's production. Overseeing other projects such as the B-15 Titan and the rail bus, Ken became general manager of the Leyland Factory and saw things through until the unceremonious demise of Leyland in 1993, when it became part of Volvo.
Told me he would have liked to have been called Sir Nigel Dresley. Unfortunately, thankfully, he's only called Kenneth Hargreaves, because that's the name we've named this bus.
What do you think of that, mate? Wow. Yeah.
Just like to say something about this man, because this man is probably the man when it comes to the Leyland National. I don't think they'd be here in the same way as they are now if it wasn't for this man. Ken Hargreaves started at Leyland Motors in 1955 as an apprentice. He rose through the ranks and was eventually handpicked for a small, elite team within the research unit, proving and developing department, and the Spurrier Works in Leyland, where he worked on the secret FPB-7 project to create a revolutionary new bus of integral construction. Ken was instrumental in the development and comprehensive testing of the prototype Leyland National in all manner of conditions, including in temperatures down to -30°C in the north of the Arctic Circle in Finland. In 1970, Ken and his family, including young children, relocated to Cumbria to become one of the Lily-Hall plant superintendents, and the general manager, John Clark, with Brian Jemson and Brian Humphreys alongside him.
And can I introduce? I'm David Quainton, whatever he is. David?
And David's around, yes.
David, come in. Come on.
No, it's your day. Your day. No.
Right.
Played a hands-on role training assembly workers, many of whom were unskilled, to build a high-quality product in the world's most modern bus factory, the Leyland National. Overseeing other projects such as the B-15, Titan and rail bus, Ken became general manager of the Leyland Factory. He witnessed ownership transcend from being a state-owned business to a management buyout and final ownership of the Volvo Corporation. The sad time came in 1993 after an extended period of plant rundown, when he had the task of switching off the lights and locking all the doors. Ken Hargreaves, Mr. Leyland National.
Yeah.
You can say a word, but afterwards, would you like a little drawing?
All right. Yeah, that's right. All right. I'd just like to thank Mike and his team for the Workington Heritage Trust and what we've done in the latter years, these last few years, in terms of, I mean, that vehicle became a legend, and it'll carry on as a legend. It'll carry on after my day as a legend. So I'm pleased to say to Mike and his team, what a great job they've done. And David Quainton are making this our last visit this time. But because it's so sad looking at the plant now. But I do thank them. They've got a great team at Workington, Heritage guys. They're doing a superb job painting vehicles, redoing the engines, and they've got a vast selection of vehicles and different engines from 510s to 680s to whatever. And I applaud what they're doing, and I credit them with that, carrying on the tradition. So, whilst I'm surprised at this, and I'm honoured to be, what's the word, represented in this way. I've always wanted to be like a steam engine with a name on the side. Nigel Gresley might be a little bit. But thanks very much, Mike, and the team. And I'm shutting up now. Thank you. Okay. I didn't know you were coming to all this.
and use a different one.
And so in a strange way, it seems poetic that we leave the factory aboard a Volvo bus. Without a doubt, the weather had certainly helped to make it one of the best events so far this year, and we now look forward to hoping that we can attend Leyland National 54, which has already been penciled in for the 2nd and 3rd of May in 2026. If you would like to stay up to date with the videos that I post, please feel free to press the subscribe button. Pressing the notification bell icon will tell YouTube to notify you when a new video appears. If you enjoyed the video, pressing the like button would be greatly appreciated. If you would like to support the channel further, you may tip me on Ko-fi or by pressing the YouTube Super Thanks button. As always, however, thank you so much for your viewership and take care.